One of the things that's interesting about this industry is it's constantly changing, and by the time you figure it out, it's changed. And so you just gotta, it's very hard from an engineering background to think that way, because you find a solution and that's it, and it's cast in stone, but not today in the digital world. I mean, even thinking of things like mobile, last year we used to think of it as M-dots, an M-dot version of the website, and that was last year. That's already out.
So last year.
That's last year, so you got to be fluid and sort of always be dynamic and nimble, and sort of just be open to new ideas and trying things.
I hope you don't hear what we're saying to mean that you should be a generalist. That's not what I'm saying at all, because as somebody who's hired a lot of people, generally what we benefit from is someone who is an expert at something but has a peripheral knowledge of just about everything else. There's a metaphor in a design school called a T-shaped personality as opposed to an I-shape. So an I-shape is somebody who's really laser focused, you're a computer science coder, bam, and that's it, and you're nothing else. But a T-shape is you have that, but you've got some cross-training, so you know about marketing, you know about design, you know about a bunch of other stuff. So keep that T-shaped metaphor in mind as you're looking for co-ops, as you're looking to graduate, and even when you're going through school. Even our combined majors, which on the surface might seem kind of 50-50, they're really not. We really want to have a main focus and specialty and just get people associated with the other specialties. We do that by having group projects, so interdisciplinary project-based curriculum. So you're going to be working with all these other specialties students in the classroom.
I'd say be willing to fail. I mean, there's, in this industry with all the change, there's very little certainty. There are no clear answers, and you can do your best work, put out a great product, and it can still just not perform. And that's okay. And the earlier you learn that, the better. It empowers you to try things that you don't know how it's going to work out. And the more you can, and you do learn more from things that don't work than things that do. But the more you're willing to just take those chances, put yourselves in those situations to stretch yourself. Maybe you don't know how it's going to get done at the end of the day, but you're willing to give your best efforts and go in there and figure it out. That's really important because there is a lot of risk. But I think as people who work in the industry, you're looking for people who have tried, are willing to do things, are willing to put in their best efforts, have tried things that succeeded, tried things that failed, but tried and learned. That's important.
I guess I would say for people that like to code, for the developers in the room, you just have to do it all the time. When I'm going through the internet, which I'm prone to do, if I find a cool website or find something that looks really interesting, I start breaking it down immediately. I get in there, I open it up, I open up code, I look to see how they did what they did, to see if there's some technique or something new out there that I have never seen before that I can incorporate into what I do. And the T-shape really, this sort of T-shaped personality really is important, I think, for developers. You want to have that thing that people come to you when a system breaks. If someone says performance is terrible, they go to this person in the company. When something in a theme breaks, they come to me. When something in the PHP middle layer breaks, they go to one of several people in the company. Like, you want to be the person who's in charge or knows the most about a topic, but you definitely don't want to only know about that. Because the amount of time that you actually spend working on the thing that you are the best at is probably 50% of your time every day.
There are team members who are very valuable, and they're the programmer that you just give them the task and they do it, and they're over there and they deep dive and rock it out. And then you have other, but they don't really pick their head up and look around. What's valuable is when you have someone who has the skills and the expertise, but they're also take the time to talk to other people on the team to understand what they're doing, understand what the project plan is, what are the goals of the project. They read about the industry, they understand kind of what's going on, so that it just gives some perspective outside of their task, because the more you can understand the whole of what you're building, the more you can make sure the work you're doing is relevant. And if you're given something that it allows you to redirect in some cases when you may be told to do something one way that maybe should be done in another way. That comes back to one of the challenges of project management is is managing all those tasks. So the more people can be aware of what's going on, what the goals are at a higher level, the more they can improve the work they're doing.
You're lucky to be in Boston. It's just a huge hotbed for independent developers. I mean, look, there's a Boston Indies group that just Google it up. They've got a blog, they've got a wiki, got an email group going, and they're amazing. You can,
What's it called? Boston what?
Boston Indies.
Indies?
Boston Indies. Yeah, it's a big overlap with the IGDA chapter in town, the Boston Postmortem. You can Google them up as well.
There's lots of events that go on, depending on the industry you're interested in. Go to those, hear people talk. Talk to people.
I don't know if Boston makes a concerted effort, the city of Boston, but there's a lot of groups. There's, like Mitex, for example, is one. As in the interactive industry, it's the trade organization, and they're pretty active in having lots of groups and lots of events. They probably have 3 or 4 events a month, and then there's other groups like the New England Direct Marketing Association. They're very good. What are some of the other ones, Sarah? Is the Ad Club, which is gets a little bit out of the sort of the technology and more into advertising. But
Mass Technology Leadership Council.
yep, Mass Tech Leadership Club.
You know, and a lot of the, especially as students, a lot of the opportunities that are out there for you, and there are opportunities out there for you, are you kind of have to get into that network to find out about them, because it's not like they're being posted in the paper or even career services. A lot of it's like a few people working together. It's like, yeah, we'd love to have someone help. So again, leverage those networking events based on what you're interested in.
One of the things that we look at is we try to find people and meet people and get to know them, and we're at those events too. So we're at Mitex and NEETMA and some of the other ones, meeting people and looking for potential partners, potential employees, those type of things. The more you can get out and meet, the better it is. And one of the things that we look for as you sort of work on these projects, and we're fortunate where a lot of the projects and the capstone projects that you guys work on, you can share those with us, and that's what we look for. And we don't expect them to be perfect. We don't expect you to be a perfect web designer. And what we're looking for is potential. And the way we judge that potential is sort of we're trying to find out a little bit about your character as a person and what you've done, where you went to school, do you sort of know the verbs and nouns of the industries, and then show us a little sample of what you've done. We're not hiring you to be an expert, but we're hiring you on potential. So anything that you can show us that'll give us a hint of that is very, very helpful.
The best thing you can do is go out and talk to people, and email people and contact people. That's the way things happen. Don't expect to, have it, and it's changing, but the more you can get out there, talk to people, and to be honest, I'm surprised by how few students I see at a lot of these events, or how many people come up to me and ask, what are you about? Are there any opportunities to help out? So if you do that, you will make an impression and do your homework, so you know if you're going to talk to someone or a company in particular, you know about what they do. But get out there, do your homework, and talk to people, and find out what they need and offer to help. And you'd be surprised how many people are just looking for help right now, but don't necessarily have the time to go out and find it.
Once you start working in a particular field, you're going to know what books are the seminal books, and I suggest reading them, even if they're 20 years old. The examples they have may be archaic and a bit cute, but the concepts are going to be extremely applicable. And then, on the flip side of your question is be really wary of the shiny. And the shiny is what we call the newest, or the hotness. It's like the newest thing in your industry. Everybody seems to be doing it. And like we said before, you don't know what's going to win. You don't know if South Park is going to be a flop or if it's going to be the next hit. You don't know if Node.js is going to be the next big thing or if it's going to fizzle in the pan. As people find out it doesn't scale very well for their particular application. So what I like to do is read blogs, read pros and cons, see where the industry is going in terms of different technologies. But if I'm really going to dive in and learn something, I have to have a good sense that I'm not going to be wasting my time.
we look for more for the foundation that people have, and then we'll train you on any specific things. And for example, we happen to be a Microsoft shop, so we look for .NET developers, and then any specific things around a particular content management system like a Sitecore, we'll train you on those specifics. But we try to find the foundation first.
I'm a huge fan of foundations, and not just in technology on the CS side, but on the art side. So my background's fine art, so I have a BFA. That comes in really handy if you've got to whip up quick storyboards just to be able to do something other than a stick figure. It's really handy. Just knowing basic composition, basic color, really basic graphic design stuff, even if you're just a hardcore coder. That's why we have those courses in our CS game curriculum, for instance. You know, I get CS students who come to me, I don't want to take an art course, I'm not an artist. Well, guess what? You know, you're going to be working with them, and having those really basic foundations are very, very valuable.
You look at them for potential. Again, like coming out of school, you wouldn't expect somebody to have a huge portfolio, but it gives us a sense of what they can do. Now, on the other side, if we're hiring a senior designer, for example, that has 10 years experience, we base a lot of our decision on the portfolio. The way I got started 13 years ago is we did the way I built my portfolio was by working with organizations and clubs that I was a part of, doing websites for friends and for organizations, and then sort of as that translated into the business world, I had some things. So it's really hard to judge somebody or evaluate somebody if they don't have it, because the chances are the person that you're competing against for a job or an internship or a co-op might have one. So you know, for developers, we'll say show us what you have, and we may go in there and we may try to break it or test the form, or submit a form and not fill in all the fields, and just see how it reacts. If it's a design, for example, we might ask, why'd you choose to do that? Why'd you put that there? What was your thoughts behind the colors or the images? And it doesn't matter what the answer is. It's the fact that you have an answer or that you've thought about it is what we're looking for.
Don't be proud from the sense of, well, you know, my skills are really valuable, I'm not going to take this unpaid internship, or, you know, somebody might ask me to do an album cover, you know, I'm going to wait to get something paid, or wait to get something in the niche that I think that I'm interested in. Forget all of that. There's just so much work to do out there. Like Scott, I think was saying, there's so many people that just need help. Everybody's insanely busy.
It's competitive in certain areas, and in other areas there's all of these companies like mine or like my friends who are just, we're so busy we don't have time to find those people. And there's a lot of opportunity if you seek them out, and you know their business, and you walk in and contact them and say, this is how I think I can help you, and I'm willing to just help out at first. There's a lot of opportunity there, especially in the Boston area. So that's kind of a different track than maybe applying to the more kind of established places, but there's plenty of opportunity out there. You need some talent. You don't need to be necessarily the best of the best. A lot of what these opportunities are, just we need someone to help. So I would, again, back to my earlier comments, I would seek out, I would talk to people, I would tell people what you're up to, and figure out how you can help them. And when you talk to them, this is an interviewing tip. Don't tell people why you would love to have that job. Tell them what you will bring to their company. I mean, people they're looking at you in terms of how will these people add to my company? What will they bring to me, not what will I bring to them? So think about, the work you do, no matter what it is, and how it fits within that company and how it will help them.
I have just two suggestions. One on the cover letter. It's you don't even read people. We probably don't even read letters anymore, just because they're so standard. They become go on the web and cut and paste one. So what's interesting and what jumps out to us is if you actually include, if you spend some time going to the website and you say, I saw it in Europe, or you worked on Stratus and I really like the way you blended blah blah blah. If you can just pick out one specific thing, it jumps out. And then as far as the resume, I mean, it's unfortunate in these days we're still using resumes. I mean, the resumes are a relic of the 50s when people used to use typewriters, and they don't look a whole lot different than they do then. But what we look for, if you took everybody in the room and put their resumes side by side and cover their names, they would be 75% the same. So what we're looking for is, you know you're going to have the college degree, you know we're going to have sort of some of the jobs at the Gap or the restaurants, because we all have them, and you have to earn money. But what we look for is we're trying to hire you, so we're trying to get to understand you as a person. So if there's anything that you can add that sort of adds to your character, if you were the captain of the lacrosse team or the marketing team, or you went to did a semester abroad in Lisbon, it's something for us to talk to you about. And guess what? When you go on the interview, probably 50% of it is about your life experience and not so much the job, because you haven't had that yet. So there's not a lot to pull from there.
To us, your code is your resume. I might look through your resume for about 2 seconds to see where you went to school, what you did prior to that, see if there are any gaps, and just see if there's anything interesting on it. But I never read the bullets. What I do is go through people's code on GitHub and I think Sprout's the other one, and I look to see what you've written, and I look to see if there's a passion in that code for what you've done. It doesn't even have to be good code per se, but if there are comments there that show me that you're thinking about how you're trying to solve the problem you're trying to solve, and I can see there's intent to do it better the next time, or to try to figure out a tough problem, then that is really what we're looking for.